So I'm now able to store some data in the cart, at least in a very basic way. But obviously we don't just want to overwrite the existing cart all the time. We want to be able to store multiple products in there and increase the quantity in case we already do have a product in there. So we need to fine tune our code a little bit. And we already started, so I'll comment this back in, where I do check whether a certain item already does exist. Now I just need to tweak the code a little bit. Here, I need to look for product ID because that is where I store my product IDs in the items in the cart. So I'm looking for product ID because I'm storing the ID and product ID down there. And now if that is something else than -1, we know that this product already exists in the cart. So I can add a new quantity field again and set this to 1 by default. But if cart product is greater than 0, or greater equal than 0, so if it's anything else but negative basically, then this means this product already exists. So then new quantity is cart product. That is actually the index, so let's maybe name it cart product index. So this is then actually equal to this cart items for that given index we just identified. And there we'll have a quantity plus 1. So this is the new quantity if that item already exists, if it already is part of our cart. If not, we'll go with the default of 1. And therefore here, I will always update to new quantity. However, I also don't want to update by always overwriting items with a new array with exactly one object. Instead, I want to add a new object to that array if the product does not exist in there. Or if it does exist in there, I want to update that one product. So how do we do that? Well, one of the simplest ways, and you could use other approaches where you leverage some functions MongoDB has, but one of the clearest approaches you can use is that you get the updated cart items, that you create such a constant, and then you access your cart items, and you create a new array where you copy in all the existing elements with the spread operator, with the 3 dots. So this gives me a new array with all the items that are in the cart, and they're now stored here. And I can now edit this array without touching the old array, due to the way JavaScript works with reference and primitive types. So now I can edit my updated cart items. And now I just need to differentiate. Do we already have that item in the cart or not? So I'll actually move that up here before my if check. And then here, if I make it into this if statement, I know that we have this product already. In that case, I can access updated cart items for the cart product index I found. So now I have access to that item I'm interested in. I know that it already existed, so I can set its quantity equal to the new quantity, like this. Now, else, if the item did not exist before, I'll take my updated cart items and simply add a new one with push. I'll add a new cart item, and I'll add a new cart item which looks exactly as described down there. So I'll just grab that code and add it here. So now I either update the quantity of an existing cart item, or I add a new one. And then down there for updated cart, I can always set my items equal to the updated cart items, because that will always be an array with all the old elements, because I copy it first, and then with the update added. So either with the quantity increased for the existing element, or with a new element added to the cart. So then I can safely have my updated cart down there and save that to the database with all the updated items in there. So if I save that now, I'll first of all add a second product real quick so that we, so that we have some alternatives here. And then I'll go to products. I'll add this first one with $12 to the cart. Now, if we update this in Compass and we look into the cart there, we see this was added again, even though it already existed. So our logic is not too convincing. If I press this one more time, we now see it in there 3 times, I'd imagine. Yeah, 3 times the same object, so clearly our logic fails. Let's see what's wrong. And I found the issue. It was this comparison up here. The problem we have here is the product I'm getting here, right? The product I'm getting as an argument is a product I just retrieved from the database. Now, the underscore ID we have in there actually is treated as a string in JavaScript, but is not exactly of type string. Since I'm using free equal signs in my check here, however, I am telling JavaScript that this should only return true if these two do not only match by value, but also by type. And technically, this is no string, even though we can use it as such. So one solution is to use two equal signs or to use two string on both here. So here and here to make sure we only work with strings here in both cases. And with this adjustment made, I can edit my object here by double clicking into some field, and then we can mark the latter two objects here in the array for deletion by clicking on the cross on the left, click update thereafter. Now this is updated. We only have one item in there with quantity 1. But now if I go back and I click add to cart and I do update this in Compass, I should still only have one object, but now with quantity 2. If I do add my other element here though, by clicking on add to cart here, and I do update, now I should have two elements in the cart, one with quantity 2, one with quantity 1. If I click add to cart again, and I update this again, it should still be two objects, now both with quantity 2, and so on. So now this is working. Now I am updating the cart. This is now an add to cart functionality, a basic one, implemented on our own. Now, of course, we want to be able to also display the cart items.